control of the far hand, it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. So let's look at the reverse knee shield, how I use that to get control of the wrist. And then as we progress through the week, we're going to be talking about how to take control with that overhook and specifically the Master Blaster grip. Jake, please. So I have screwed up. He has the underhook, he has the cross face, he's driving into me, and he's got his head on the inside, right? Some people will try to do this, but you're never going to be able to get your elbow in there. If I try to push into me, if I try to repummel, you see how his hips are up, there's still no space to come in, right? And so there's no real good place for this. Don't do this, okay? This just pulls him into you. And wedging, framing, all of that's great, but this is like if that doesn't work. Does that make sense? So what I'll do is I'll come over and grab just tight up here. I'm always waiting for any space. If he ever sits back and gives me the space, I'm always wedging right back in. But this hand's gonna come right here to the outside of the hip. I'm gonna take that half guard knee, the one that was holding, and it's gonna come up here and push on the hip. Now, the goal would be to kind of arch, but people don't like this because this is like the next thing that happens, right? Going back to guard. And so what a lot of people will do when they feel this knee coming in, they think you're going back to guard, and they'll keep this pressure heavy, drive into you, and take this hand and try to stuff the leg back in between the legs. Well, that's the moment that I know where the wrist is, so I go get control of the wrist. Does that make sense? Now my goal is going to be to take this overhook and come and grab a hold of my own wrist. Sit up. You can see that I have a thumb up towards his chin grip, and my other hand is without the wrist holding onto my own wrist. Does that make sense? This is what I refer to as the Master Blaster grip. Walt Bayless also calls it the grapevine grip. Okay, let's look at it again. So he's mushing me, he's got that inside head control. This, usually I'll be able to motor him because it means his knee's on the floor. He's just too tight. This is that place. Drive into me. He's driving into me, and my hand goes to the hip, my knee comes in. When that hand goes down, I get control, a little bit of a shrimp, and go get a hold of that own wrist. That make sense? One more time. You want to see this?
Yeah.
Anyone want to feel it?
I want.
Come here. Make sense?
Yeah.
Let's get it. 1, 2.